Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of Redzone In the Lab. That is RITL, also pronounced Riddle. I am Deuce. That's DEUCE. Big show today. Big show today. Like, we know what we want to do. We know what we want to do as far as this year, right? But like, if we want to continue to build sustainable success, as they mentioned, as Adam Peters mentioned in his first presser, we need these draft picks to hit, right? A lot of people complain about us only having 5 this past year, 5 next year as it stands right now. But if it stands the same way over 3 drafts, including the one coming up, that's 19 picks, right? You get 7 each year. So if you think about it, that's 2 less picks than what you would normally get. So it's really not about the quantity of the picks. It's about the quality. So we're going to go back to last year's draft. We got NFL and college football analyst, draft guru, Ryan Fowler in the building. He's going to give us some updates on last year's picks and this year's picks and how we merge them together and how it fits what Dan Quinn wants to do for now and in the future. Right after this, man. Let's get to it.
I didn't make it true, playing by the rules. I come apart, babe, but never cool. I didn't make it true, playing by the rules. I come apart, babe, but never cool.
Man, we've been waiting a long time for this, baby. Redzone In the Lab. Commanders. It's time. Let's get it, homie. Ryan Fowler back in the building, back in the lab. How you been, sir?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Good. Hanging in there?
I am. It's good to be back. It's good to be back, man.
Like, it was something, right? Because I always, like, affiliated you with the draft, right? So every time you come on, it's always about, like, the draft and I didn't know you, like, the Commanders was, like, in your realm. Like, I didn't know that till I started looking this past week. I'm like, wait a minute, Commanders? I didn't know that. Like, tell me a little bit about that, Ryan.
Yeah. So a little bit about my background. I'm from the DMV area originally.
See, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
I am. Yeah, I went to Mount Vernon High School. I went to George Mason. So I was in the area. And then my first job in professional sports was with the Commanders. I was working under Larry Michael, Tony Wiley a little bit. I know everybody out there knows those names.
Yeah.
I was there for a few years. So that was really where I started before I went on to the Draft Network, Bleacher Report, a couple other places as well, and where I'm thankful and privileged to be right now. So the Commanders were really my first start here in the professional sports industry, and I grew up watching them too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice, and it's always burgundy and gold's always been in my blood a little bit.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so like one of the things, so we got some little drama going on right now, right? Some little politicking going on right now with Terry and Adam. But like one of the things Adam mentioned when he came here in his first presser was building sustainable success, right? So, and we understand it's a combination of things, right? But the one of the things to be able to build that success is be able to have a young core that can grow together, right? And right now, this past 2 years, we've been the oldest team in the league, right?
Yeah.
We have no draft picks that we have to worry about fifth-year options for. So that right there gives you an idea of how bad the previous regime was, or how bad they was in developing those players, Ron. So I wanted you to come on and we could kind of look at last year's draft to see, like, are these guys kind of on the trajectory that you thought that they would be on, and then we'll kind of merge them with some of the picks this past year. So first, let's start with I have a question for you.
Yeah.
A lot of our fan base, a lot of the media is about, we only have 5 picks this past year, 5 next year, right? Like, I always include the trades at the sit place for those picks, right?
Yeah.
But over the 3-year span, last year, this year, next year, it's going to be 19 picks altogether, right? So I'm more so on, well, you're the professional. What do you think of a team? What do you think the hit rate is on a normal draft picking 7 rounds in the NFL?
Yeah, let's just say you have a pick in each round. You know, I think if you can hit on prioritizing your day 1 and day 2 picks is huge. Anything you really get in that middle portion to late portion of day 3, right? Rounds 5, 6, 7 primarily. You know, you're taking some flyers on guys usually that you like, that fit your thresholds at certain positions, whether, you know, it's an edge guy, whether it's a receiver. You know, first draft for Adam Peters, big thing he prioritized was the short shuttle. You looked at Mikey Sainristil, you looked at Luke McCaffrey, even Brandon Coleman, guys that are able to move in small situations as far as just relocating, you know, things like that as far as you get into day 3. But I think as the picks expand, as you really metaphorically get more darts at the dartboard, you're going to give yourself a higher chance to hit on some guys like they did, I think, in 2024. But as you move into 2025, where, you know, the Kane Madranos, the Jalen Lanes, obviously, I know we're going to talk about Bill Krosky Merritt. I think if you can hit in that 60 to 70% range where you get core guys on day 1 and into the second round, and get key rotational pieces into the 3rd and 4th, and anything you get beyond that is really exceeding expectations for even a guy like last year where we saw Tyler Owens as a UDFA come in as a extremely athletic kid that blew up the combine, didn't even run the 40. Remember, he got gimpy at the starting line on his 40 attempt. But that's a high-level athlete, Deuce, where you look at him and say, this guy can do a lot of different things for us, and he did in year 1. So I think living in that 60 to 70% range, if you want to put a percentage on it, and building through the draft is really what the best teams in football do.
Is it more so, because what I'm getting from you is kind of where I am. It's more about quality than quantity, right?
Yes. For me, yes. And I think also, too, Deuce, it's also trusting your scouting staff. With Ron Rivera and prior regimes, you know, looking at even from afar, the talent evaluation was completely terrible. And I don't want to be that person, Deuce, to sit here and say, hey, you know, look at the Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor situation. That's in Philadelphia. But or look at Forbes, of course, with Christian Gonzalez. But really, for me, it was the Forbes and Christian Gonzalez situation, because the corner position, unlike the receiver position, it doesn't directly correlate with another position where you have to have success. So with Gonzalez, and the talent was completely off the charts comparatively to what Forbes did at Mississippi State. But they said, hey, we want a ball hawk, right? So talent evaluation, prioritizing your picks and what you have. I don't care if you have 3 picks or you got 15 picks. If you can focus on certain guys that you really want in certain rounds are going to fit what you do, not trying to put a square peg into a round hole that usually fits in your offense, defense, or trying to get guys in like a Kane Madrano, core special teamer, but down the road paved the way for some snaps on defense for him.
All right. So do we need to talk about Jayden? Well, yes.
We always talk about Jayden.
Yes, we do. Did you expect that at all?
Well, I'll say this. I'm happy. Look, everyone's like, hey, get down. He's being an athlete, right? He's making a play. He didn't draft a robot. But first things first, I'm happy about Cliff Kingsbury. First play, off the back hip, Deebo Samuel around the edge, 15 yards. He heard all the crap this offseason. Deebo's this, Deebo's that. I get it. I think we all get it. It's a preseason. But the way to come on the football field, first time seeing this group out really in a live environment since the NFC title game with Jayden on the field. You go end around, you get Chris Rodriguez loose a little bit. 2 plays later, Jayden's in the end zone. Put your helmet up for the night. It was awesome to see, and I think we're all really excited about really what the ceiling and floor could be for this offense after what we saw last year.
So, based on your evaluation of Jayden last year and how he performed last year, how much have your floor and or ceiling changed, or has it changed at all?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the floor hasn't changed really too much. I think the ceiling continues to grow. I just don't know how lofty it can be for him, because last year all we saw Deuce as the year went on and on and on was he can win with his arm and he can win with his legs. Whatever he has to do to put the burgundy and gold on top with more points than the other team at the end of the ball game, he will do. And I think right now, I mean, it would be silly to sit here and say for some people that he should absolutely be up there with Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrows of the world. But how can you not? I know last year as a rookie, but one thing that's impressed me so much was that, yes, you had Terry on the outside, but he's elevating De'Ami Brown. He got him paid. He got eliminated. He elevated everybody. And that was the goal last year for Adam Peters. Say, look, we don't have a ton around you. Zach Ertz is on the back half of his career. He elevated him too. And now Lilly probably a top 7-9 tight end as far as receptions and receiving yards this year. So I think the ceiling for me with Jayden continues to grow, where again, this year, I think the ceiling absolutely, Deuce, is absolutely in the MVP category for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Mikey Sainristil, you was very high on him coming out. We thinking slot corner, that's really going to be game 1 slot. He get moved between games 2 and 3. He had to adjust to the outside. How did you look at the way how he handled that and how he got better over the year?
Yeah, Deuce, I think that there has to be an appreciation when it comes to Mikey Sainristil of just flat out good football players. Because if we're doing a schoolyard pick, right, there's the Tariq Woolens of the world, the Sauce Gardners of the world. I want that 6'2" guy with 34 for arms on the outside that can run 4.4. That's not Mike Sainristil. He's a tough, hard-nosed SOB that will do everything for you. Excellent eyes. We've seen the ball production with him as a prior receiver last year, the 2 picks against Detroit, and the ability, like a Trent McDuffie in Kansas City, to start inside, to play outside. People just overlook that all year long. And now moving into this year where you expect absolutely more from Marshall Lattimore, and we'll see how Trey Amos plays as a rookie. I think he's going to be fine. His ability to play inside out, whatever they need him to do, you need to get in the fringe areas and stop some guys in the ground game. Just having a guy that where you just know exactly what you're going to get and you can trust in every single situation, whether you're in man or you're in zone. It's really nice to have a young player like that still just moving into year 2, where I know all the attention was on Jayden last year, but Mike Sainristil for me was right up there with Jayden, how good he was on the back end. That didn't get a lot of help because of the lack of pressure up front overall. Yeah,
and speaking of the pressure, Jayden Newton, we know he wasn't able to participate in the off-season programs and into training camp. They knew about the one injury. We all knew about it. And then the other foot came up. So he had to take care of both of those. So now, like him, like I think towards the end of the year, you can see I think he's an NFL player, right? But he was just a little too small. He was kind of getting pushed around. But this year he looks so much better. So what do you think the trajectory of Jayden Newton?
Yeah, it was funny when they drafted him, Deuce, and I was like, this looks like a pick to get John Allen out of there. And that's what's happened, right? And now moving to this year where Daron Payne's next to him. And I want to see some of the Jayden Newton that we saw at Illinois, where sometimes he's at 3 tech, sometimes he's at 4 head up on the tackle, or he even played some 5 and some wide 9 at times, bending around the arc at 300+ pounds and chasing down quarterbacks in the Big Ten. That's the ceiling of a Johnny Newton along this defensive line, to where you can move him up and down and pair with Javon Kinlaw and Dietrich Wise, Eddie Goldman, of course, Daron Payne, up and down this front 4. So it's a big year for him. He's already got a year under his belt. Hopefully the game slows down a little bit for him. I want to see him get a little bit more physical as far as taking on double teams and allowing those guys to work behind him, working into the A-gaps a little bit. But everything is there for him to really be a game wrecker within the middle, because when you combine the strength, the power, the athleticism, and then just the overall ability to win in isolation at times, that's all there for him. So it's a huge year for him this year moving into year 2.
Ben Sinnott. Like when we first started looking at him, all I saw was Chris Cooley.
Mhm.
Obviously, last year, I'm on the side where he got a lot of reps, right? He's
Mhm.
able to work on his blocking. But like even Dan mentioned it, they didn't expect Ertz to do that. Like they didn't expect him to have that type of year. So it seems like we're having a similar Trey McBride situation. But is there like, should fans that were very high on him, should they still be high on him, or should they start lowering their expectations?
Another guy with a big year too, because we didn't see a ton, but I am happy and I'm with you, Deuce, as far as the reps. You know, he filled a role last year. He wasn't John Bates, right, as far as a Y tight end, but he also wasn't Zach Ertz as your F tight end and as a flex weapon in space. So if you can find that happy median and be a guy that maybe doubles and triples, hopefully more of his numbers than what we saw as far as in space this year. I mean, I remember talking to a scout that had a 4th or 5th round grade on him the year he came out of Kansas State last year and said the main worry with Ben for us scouts was that he can't run in space, really accelerating and just create in the open field. But for me, I saw a little bit different. I saw a guy that can create in space a little bit more than what he got credit for. So I think this year, where it may be really the last hurrah, if you will, for Zach Ertz, you know what you have in John Bates. If you want to line up in some 12 or some 13, offer some unique looks up front where it looks like you're going to run the ball and you get your tight ends in space. Ben Sinnott's going to be a guy this year where it's not only just a big year for him in 2025 year 2, but what is he going to be ultimately down the road when likely Zach Ertz is here no longer and you're arguably the best weapon they have as a flex piece in this offense?
Brandon Coleman. He came in. He kind of was doing the half and half thing at left tackle at the beginning of the year before he took over at left tackle. Up and down year, but he had some great games. He had some elite reps against some elite pass rushers.
Yeah.
And he also was getting a lot of chip help. But now he's moved to left guard. Do you think his ceiling is higher at left guard, or you think it was at left tackle?
I liked Brandon at left tackle. I liked him at left tackle. But when I first got live exposure with Brandon down at the Senior Bowl, seeing his body type, Cliff Kingsbury, back to his days Arizona, even college, waist up, these boxy type of looking offensive linemen where they just want to get downhill and go A to B. But Brandon moving inside now, where now he has Laramie to his left and Tyler Biadasz has an ass kicker at center. That's a really nice spot for him with bumpers to either shoulder. So I liked him at tackle. I thought he had, like you said, really good reps there. If you just watch him for the first time, like the national coverage did against Tampa Bay and Yaya Diaby, you probably thought, this kid's rough, right? But he had a good year. But at guard, he expands the playbook. He's a really good athlete when healthy. I think that's the biggest thing for everybody is just to stay available and stay healthy. And he can really work A to B, climb to the second level, and create some more creases for these designated ball carriers, which I want to see a little bit more from this year now with Brian Robinson Jr. Likely out.
We're going to talk about JCM. Like, I got something special for y'all listeners about JCM. Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Man, the fan base is tough on him. They're real tough on him. Did you like, I know, but let's just remind, did you like that pick at 100? And how do you think he kind of, it's his second year at wide receiver, how do you think he kind of did last year playing that position for the second year? And what do you expect for him moving forward?
Yeah, I did like the pick, Deuce. I did, to wrap up the third round. But I need a little bit more from Luke. I get all the separation metrics were there and he's open. We're seeing that on the All-22 a lot. But now he's had now basically 2 preseasons. He's had 2 training camps. He's had a regular season and 3 playoff games. You've worked with Jayden Daniels, Marcus Mariota, Sam Hartman, and Josh Johnson, and none of those 4 guys are targeting you. There's a potential reason for that. Their quarterback's got to trust the guys on the outside. And if they consistently drop back and they're maybe on their first or second read, not consistently looking to you, not expecting you to be open, whatever your metrics may say, that's something to me that explains a little bit why he's maybe not getting those targets. But overall, as the player, I do like Luke McCaffrey because he can do the dirty work and block, the no block, no rock type of attitude that you see basically from Ben Johnson and now in Chicago. Of course, I can't believe I was forgetting his name. He does the little things well. I just want to see him progress as a receiver because, Deuce, I mean, I can't sit here and say that is Luke McCaffrey outplaying Chris Moore, Ja'Cory Brooks, even a Tay Martin, or let alone a Jalen Lane who had 6 targets against Cincinnati? For me, no. All 22, there's some good stuff, but I need some more. And in an offense where you're trying to elevate your ceiling and get above the Philadelphia Eagles of the NFC or the Detroit Lions or other teams that are going to be better this year, you need to fill and find who's your wide receiver 3, who's your wide receiver 4. And right now, for me, wide receiver 3 is probably going to be some mix of Jalen Lane and a Noah Brown, Michael Gallup type. It's not Luke McCaffrey right now, and I'm happy that the fans out there want more from him because the expectations are a lot this year, and you expect more from your players, specifically top 100 picks like he was.
Like I always joke that, he's the godson, right? AP is a godfather. So do you think the godfather will ever cut his godson?
It's possible. It's NFL. Hey, and I will say this. I'm sad for the kid, but Dom Hampton, it didn't work out. Didn't fill a role, spent capital on him and let him loose. But top 100 pick, not through year 2 yet. I don't think it happens just now, but they need more from him for sure.
Yeah, just stay right there. We'll come back to McGee. What do you think the issue was with him? You think he still was it the scheme fit? Was it him? Like, what do you think it was?
I thought, Deuce, I honestly liked the scheme fit. I did. Watching him at Washington, a team that made the national championship and faced off against the likes of Mikey Sainristil in Michigan. Now, they didn't win that ball game, but his ability to play high-low, these modern 6'1", 6'2", 245-pound backers that can play everywhere, I liked the fit in this defense to where you look at the days with Joe Witt and Dan Quinn in Dallas, the likes of Marquise Bell or the Keanu Neal types. They can play some different spots. Jabril Cox, our old friend Jabril Cox.
Yeah, right.
Those types of guys, it didn't work out when you turn on the lights and you get inside the sideline to where he just looked slow to react. The hips were stiff. He just looked out of place, and the game speed was just too much for him. And I think we didn't see a lot of them specifically last year at all. But now the early portions of this year to where it just wasn't good enough, this staff obviously came together and said, look, we're continuing to draft people. We're seeing what we have from Kane Madrano. We want Jordan McGee on the field. We need more from you. We haven't seen it, so we're going to let you walk and maybe get an opportunity elsewhere.
Jordan McGee, man, you got London Fletcher talking big about him last year. Like, everyone enjoying this kid when he's on the field, but that's the issue. Even when he came back, you kind of see a little, then he ended up getting hurt again, and now he's hurt again. Is this something that's been going on since college? Is this something recent? And what do you expect? Like, is there so much upside that they'll still take a chance on him?
I love Jordan McGee, Deuce. I really do when he's on the football field. But as you know, the best ability is availability. And if he's not on the football field and you can't see him strapped up and competing, he had 1 start last year, 8 games overall. I believe he had 9 total tackles, whatever it was, a little over a tackle game when he's out there. But you turn on the tape in 2023 of this kid at Temple, and he was already, I think he was top 2 in all of the FBS and TFLs, 20 plus TFLs, as a guy that just read and react as far as just seeing things quickly and blowing up guys at or behind the line of scrimmage. And, Frankie Louvu, hybrid piece, Bobby Wagner, how many more years does he have under his belt? They're looking for pieces in the middle, and I really, really would like to see Jordan get as healthy as he can. I know today he was out of practice, but I got to see him on the football field before ever I can sit here and say he's going to be a long-term contributor, because right now he's sitting for me in a little bit of that Jamin Davis category. And I hate to say that name. That brings back bad Vietnam flashbacks for a lot of people. But he's a high-level athlete. The potential is there, but the word potential can get coaches fired. I just want to see him get healthy and get after it within that defense.
Javontae Jean-Baptiste, he had some few injuries, but last year you saw some flashes. You saying some in training camp, and I think he had the injury again. But like he has Ryan Kerrigan, now he has Von Miller there. This is one of those pieces we were talking about at the top of the show, of someone that you can be a core piece of your team if they can hit. Do you think he has the ability to hit?
Highly recruited kid, right? Started out at Ohio State, ended up at Notre Dame. You always know what you're going to get from guys that are Notre Dame as far as just extremely well coached and understand the position. I still like Javontae. I really do. I want to see him get healthy. I want to see him on the football field, because I don't think the Commanders, at least for me, I wanted to see them add an edge early on in the 2025 draft. They didn't. Dallas got one of my favorite guys, right?
Hey, yeah, as a Rock, who was my favorite. Like that was my player at 29 as a Rock. It seems he had all the tools that you would want. But go ahead.
No, I'm right there with you. And I just wanted to see them get a guy that can win in isolation. I get the Jacob Martin addition. I liked what I saw from him against Cincinnati as a guy that had 4 pressures and is going to be that Dante Fowler type of replacement. Does he have 10+ sacks this year? I don't know. But for Javontae coming in, maybe living in 20 to 30% of the snaps, that's a guy I think that can get better and better working into year 2. Long physical player. I don't have worries on early downs. I'm interested to see how he progresses because he's a guy, again, he's got all the tools, all the size, is a highly recruited kid. That's already there. Now, can you continue to develop as a football player at the NFL level working into year 2 with the rookie year behind you, continue to make an impact along the defensive front? It's got a lot of veterans along
it. So that was last year. So just moving over to this year, do you see a correlation between how they drafted this year last year compared to this year? Do you see similarities, or they just kind of going with the flow? Like, is there some type of method to Adam Peters?
Other than grabbing a corner that they really liked on day 2, right? Mike Sainristil 24, Trey Amos in 2025. I don't really see a huge correlation because I don't think anybody was expecting Josh Connerly to be the addition in the first round. I sure as heck didn't. I didn't. Now, I will say this, and as we get towards March and April, I do my darndest to try to get any information out of Washington in the pre-draft process, and it's just really hard. There's a lot of tight-lipped there in Ashburn. But Josh Connerly, look, it's a big boy up front. You're trying to battle the Eagles of the East. I get that. So I didn't see a ton of correlation, but I will say this, in that they trust their scouting staff. They trust their evaluations, and they're trusting the football people to do their football jobs. And it's really refreshing, Deuce, because as we've seen in the past, that just wasn't the case. It just flat out wasn't the case.
Yeah, and Cliff did his part, right, with the whole sticky note. That he wanted Josh Connerly with the first pick. All right. Explain. So your boots are much dug in much more than any of ours as far as the issues would happen with JCM and his eligibility. Can you just give us a layman's terms of what happened?
Yeah, there was without getting too deep into stuff with NCAA, there's a lot of stuff that went on there. Yeah, it was basically a waiver issue was what happened. There wasn't anything behind the scenes as far as off the field stuff or grades or credits transferring over, anything like that. There was just a small waiver issue that unfortunately kept him out. But one thing people forget, Deuce, or didn't know of, but the whole entire year, it wasn't just that Bill was just sitting around kind of just playing games and playing cards. He was working every day. He was the Arizona scout running back every single day at practice. So he was getting his work in, and then went to Shrine and did what he did in the pre-draft process. So he was getting work in every day. He wasn't just hanging out in the waiver issue. Yeah, he couldn't play on game day with Noah Fafita and T-Mac out there at Arizona. He was their scout running back every single day at practice.
So that's good. They would still have to get some work in. All right. Give me, I know I said 60 seconds, but I want a little bit more because there's so much hype with JCM, with Bill right now. Give me 90 seconds of JCM.
Yeah, I'll say this first. I'm not a guy that brags. I'm not a guy that, I try to stay as humble as possible and trust my evaluations on guys. I preach in the pre-draft process, whether it's Washington or anybody else. Take a look at Krosky Merritt, Bill Krosky Merritt. Look at what he is. Watch the Shrine tape. Just take 5 minutes. Watch some tape and just look at him. And as we've worked into the summer, I know you know who he is, but my other media friends in Washington are just now figuring out who Bill Krosky Merritt is and the skill set, Deuce, that he has in an NFL offense. And I said it back in April, and I'll say it right now because it's coming to fruition as far as how he's adjusted this depth chart, is that when he entered the building, fundamentally, as far as the vision, the footwork, and the ability to make guys miss in space, he was the most talented ball carrier that Washington had in the backfield the day he arrived. And now very quickly, in middle of August, Brian Robinson is out, and he looks like he's secured a spot, not only just on the 53, but to have a role here in 2025. And I love to see it because it's a guy that's taken advantage of the process. He came in, he's transferred practice success into mini camp, into the preseason, and hopefully now we get to see it in the regular season as a guy that can make some plays for these team inside the tackles and outside the tackles as well.
Yeah, because I don't know if you remember on the Commanders draft show that we do with Kyle and DT that you was on, you had us picking him day 3.
I did. I didn't remember that. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much. But I have like 3 rapid questions with what we do, what I'm kind of starting. And these are college specific, only college, not NFL, but only college. I'll give you 2 players. You only got scholarship for 1. Ooh. You got to choose that player. You ready?
Oh, man. Go ahead.
All right. First one. Tim Tebow or Vince Young?
Ooh. Oh, my goodness. I like it. That's great. I like Vince Young. Man, Vince Young, the arm. I know both of them are obviously sensational. I think one thing that pops him out with Tim Tebow is just the leadership was unbelievable. You want to go to war with that guy. But Vince Young, just the dynamic arm, the ability to get in space, is a big physical dude. I'm gonna go Vince Young on that. Give me Vince.
All right. Number 2, Ricky Williams or Herschel Walker?
Oh man. I'll take Herschel. The old Georgia Bulldog, as successful as he was. Give me Herschel, just a guy that was really transcendent. He's one of those guys, dudes, that you can just pick up, put him in the 60s, put him in the 90s, in the 2000s.
That's right.
Wherever, he'll succeed. So give me Herschel Walker on that. I can't go wrong with either of those guys, but give me him.
All right. Here's another one I want to give you. This is the last one. LaDainian Tomlinson.
All right.
Or Reggie Bush?
Oh my goodness, that's tough. Man, I'm gonna go Reggie Bush. I think he's one of the more dynamic athletes I think that we've seen play football in a long, long time. Again, it's not taking anything away from what LT did. Specifically looking at this and what he did at TCU. Reggie was unbelievable. Now I know there's a lot of guys on that offense, right? Matt Leinart and Dwayne Jarrett on the outside. We're going way back with that, but Reggie was just unbelievable as a football player, and I'll go number 5 with Reggie Bush on that. I like those questions. That was fun.
All right, thank you so much, Ryan. Let everyone know where they can find you, where they can find your work.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you don't follow me there already on X, I'm at _Ryan Fowler, Commander stuff, all college football stuff. We're getting going this weekend. Iowa State, Kansas State, lots of stuff to come from that. And of course, the season coming up for the NFL. And then my podcast as well. 2 episodes a week, pregame, postgame, anything happens, news and notes specifically on the Commanders. It's called Commanding the Huddle, and that's on all podcast platforms.
All right. Thank you so much, Ryan. We know your time is very valuable for you to spend it with us. We absolutely appreciate it. Thanks to every one of you for watching and listening. Enjoy the rest of the day. This is Redzone In the Lab. Remember, do it because you love it, not because it loves you. 1 beat, 1 sound, 1 heart, 1 love. Thank you so much, Brian. Talk to you later, buddy.
Thanks, my guy.
All right, peace.